Alright guys, it's time to put into practice what you learned in the last lesson, namely how to use these import and export keywords and how to work with different files and different modules. In this challenge, I want you to import the functions that live in this calculator.js file, and once you've imported it, it's going to be used in each of these LIs to calculate a number to go onto the website. Now, the result that you're aiming for is the same as this final.png file. 4 bullet points, each with a number, which is calculated from each of these methods. And all you need to do is figure out how to import those methods so that they can be used inside our EJS here. Now, when you start out, you're going to get a lot of errors and a lot of warnings. Things like add is not defined, multiply is not defined. It basically doesn't know any of these methods until you actually figure out the code and import the correct functions. So go ahead and fork this sandbox and try to solve this challenge. And once you're done, we can walk through it together. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go into our calculator.js because we need to export all of the functions that we want to be accessible from other files. So in this case, I have no default thing that I want to export. I actually want to export all of these functions separately. So I'm going to add the add function, the multiply, subtract, and divide. Now, remember that at this stage, you don't want to add any parentheses to these functions. We're just exporting the function as it is without activating or calling it. Once I've exported all of these functions, I can now go back to my index.js and I can import all of the ones that I want from that file. So at this stage, I've got two options really. I could either use a wildcard form where I import everything packaged under one name, or I can import each of them separately. So I can go ahead and say add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Now notice the order in which you import these methods don't have to be the same as the order that you exported, as long as the names match precisely. So like what I've got here. Now next I have to specify where or which file I'm importing from. And in my case, I'm going to use a relative path to my calculator.js file. So now that we've imported all of these functions, our errors have gone away and our website is now working and looking exactly the same as what we've got in the sample, the final.png. This is one way of solving it. Another way that you could have done this is to use the wildcard, right? So you could have added an asterisk and you could have given that particular module a name. So we could have called it calculator, and then down here, instead of just writing add or multiply, what we have to do instead is we have to add calculator dot add, because this calculator is the object and it contains a whole bunch of functions that corresponds to the ones that we exported. So now I could add calculator.add, .multiply, .subtract, and .divide, and this now works perfectly as well. So you have lots and lots of options, and it's important that you understand that both of these methods work so that when you come across them in the wild, you won't be confused and you'll understand what it does. So have a play around with this file if there's anything that you're still unsure about, and once you're ready, come and join us back on the next lesson, where we're going to learn about how to set up our local environment for React development. So for all of that and more, I'll see you there.